Hi everyone, it's Becky from Studio 25 Yoga. I hope you can join me for a little yoga class. We're going to go ahead and get started. All you'll really need is some space and a mat if you have one. We're going to start in mountain pose. So for mountain pose, if you're new to yoga, you're going to take your legs about hip distance apart. And we're just going to find our center here, center ground. We're going to rock back and forth from our heels to our toes. Rock back on our heels, lift our toes, spread them out, and then place them down. So we're grounded through our feet. So you want to think of even lifting the arches of the feet to activate the leg muscles a little bit, staying grounded through the inner and outer edges of the feet and the heels. And then we're going to align our joints. So we want to have good posture in mountain pose. So our ankles, knees, hips, and shoulders are all stacked. Go ahead and shrug and roll the shoulders up and back. And think of just drawing your shoulder blades in like you're bringing them into little pockets here, opening up through the collarbones and keeping the head in a neutral position. Okay, so now lifting up tall from the crown of our head like there's a string attached to the top of our head. And here's our mountain pose, nice and firm foundation, rooted to the ground. If you like, you can close your eyes. We're going to draw some awareness to our breath. Breathing in and out through the nose if possible. If you're a little stuffy, allergies acting up, you can certainly exhale from the mouth. As long as we're not holding our breath. So as we breathe in, we want to think of opening, expanding. And when we breathe out, releasing. I'm taking these first few moments of class to draw our awareness to our minds and our bodies, checking in with how we're feeling today. If we have any particular areas, do a little body scan. Any areas of tightness, or maybe you have an injury or something that we want to be particularly careful with today, and we want to honor that. We want to make sure we're not pushing too far. So please take your time and go slowly. If you need to modify or change anything or come to a child's pose at any time during this practice, please do. Okay, if our eyes are closed, we're going to go ahead and open our eyes. Start to add a little movement here, waking up, warming up our bodies. Our arms are going to lift overhead. As they come to the top, we'll bring our palms together, press the palms, and bring them to our heart center. Staying grounded in our mountain pose. With an inhale, we'll sweep the arms, and with our exhale, bring the hands to our heart center. And just move at your own pace. If I move a little faster or a little slower than you do, that's okay. We take our time, and we always listen to our bodies, modifying as necessary. Just starting to warm up our shoulders. One more time, and we're going to add a chair pose to this. So we'll sweep the arms to the sides with our inhale, and as we bring the palms together and lower to the heart center, we're going to aim our tailbone back, sitting back in chair pose. So for chair pose, if you imagine there's a chair directly behind you, and we want to aim our tailbone right into that chair. So you feel as if your weight shifts back into your hips. Breathing in with our lift and out as we sit back. Want to make sure that our knees stay behind our ankles or in line with our ankles. Just make sure that they're not going out over the toes. That can cause pressure in the knees that we don't want to stir up. On our next exhale, we're going to take it to chair pose, holding just as low as comfortable. So if you do have any knee discomfort, feel free to come up a little higher. If you're okay with it and want to sink deeper, that's fine. Make sure too in chair pose that the knees don't start to collapse inward or fall outward. We want to keep the knees over the ankles. Now pressing through the four corners of the feet, we're going to sweep up and go into a nice swan dive. So bend the knees, lead with the heart, and just dive forward into swan dive, releasing over our legs. And just relax here in this forward fold. So let the upper body relax, let your belly rest on your thighs. Relax the head and neck. So if you like, turn the head from side to side, releasing the neck, just as if you're saying no. And then lift and lower the chin like you're saying yes. From here, taking the hands under the shoulders, spread the fingers wide, step the feet back to downward facing dog, using the strength of the shoulders to push back into the hips. And we're going to walk the dog. So we're going to pedal the feet, one heel up, one heel down. Just warming up our ankles, using the strength of our shoulders to push our hips back. And now pushing into both heels, feeling that length in the hamstrings, pushing into the heels, stretching the calf muscles. And now coming to our knees into child's pose. Shifting back and releasing down. Bringing our forehead to our mat. And just relaxing. Draw the shoulders down. If you like, turn the head side to side. Reminding ourselves that we can always return to child's pose or any other pose if we need to take a break at any time in our practice. Okay, we're going to continue warming up our shoulders for some sun salutations. So let's come to a kneeling plank position. So we want our hands right under the shoulders and our back is on an inclined position. We're going to bend our elbows, lowering our bodies to the mat, and then using our back muscles, just lifting to a baby cobra. So I like to just take my hands off the floor so I'm not tempted to push. Releasing down. Now elbows pointed straight back, abs lifted, pushing up, and then sitting back again into child's pose. Inhale. This is our half series, warming up our shoulders. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, back to child's pose. And we'll just do a couple more of these. Again, moving at your own pace. Keeping our abdominal muscles drawn in to support our lower backs. Using the strength of our arms to push ourselves back. Being very conscious of where we are and what our bodies are doing. This will be our last one. We're going to meet in child's pose. Now with our arms reaching, fingers spread wide, curl the toes under your hips. Use your legs to push back into downward dog. And whenever you're ready, step toward the hands. Slowly round your back, roll yourself up. Ready to move on to some sun salutations. If you like, you can do these on the knees or in a plank position on the toes. So starting at the top of our mat, rolling our shoulders down and back. Inhale, arms up. Slight little arch if you're comfortable with that. Exhale, folding. Inhale, sliding the hands up, looking out for half lift, and exhale back to fold. Now we're going to step our left foot back to a lunge, and then our right foot. So if you like, drop to the knees for your chaturanga or stay on the toes. We're going to shift forward, chaturanga, scooping into up dog or baby cobra. Exhale to down dog or child's pose. Now you can crouch and hop to the hands or step forward, right foot, left foot. Reverse our swan dive up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Stepping our right foot back to lunge and then our left foot. Shifting forward, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Crouch and hop or step through left, right. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back, lunge. Right foot steps back. Shift forward, chaturanga. Scoop, lifting the chest. Push back to down dog. Crouch and hop or step through right, left. Reverse swan dive, one more time. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look out. Exhale, release, stepping our right foot back, then our left. Shifting forward, chaturanga. Up, down dog. Crouch and hop or step through left, right. Reverse swan dive. Let's hold, palms together. And just lengthen the spine. Think of starting at the hip, and then the lower back, and lengthening all the way up to the top. Releasing our arms down, stepping our feet hip distance, returning to a mountain pose. Checking in with how we're feeling. Are we a little more warm? I am. All right, so keeping our legs about hip width apart, I'm going to stretch my right arm, reaching up, so I might look like my left arm, but take whatever arm up you want to start, and lengthen. So just think of really pushing into that right foot, staying grounded through the right foot, lengthening all the way up the side, right side of our body, and then going into just the slightest little side bend. We can look up toward our hand if that's comfortable, or forward. Stay grounded through the right side. Release. And now let's stretch the left side. Lengthen like you're reaching up to grab something. Really get that first stretch straight up. Now staying grounded through our left foot. That slight little tilt. And breathe. Breathing into the tightest spots. And I have a lot of them. Don't realize till you start moving how tight you are. Okay, releasing the arms down. Now we're going to go into a little chest expansion. So for chest expansion, the arms are going to come behind us. You can imagine that you're holding an object behind your back and opening up through the collarbones. If you're able to lace the fingers together and press the palms, you can do it this way as well. So we're still in the mountain pose with our legs grounded through the feet, opening up through the chest. Take a deep breath. You can stay here or slightly bending the knees, coming into a fold, bringing the hands away from the hips, resting our belly on our thighs, and just getting that nice stretch in the shoulders and chest. Take a couple deep breaths. Releasing the crown of our head toward the floor. Now we'll release the arms down, relaxing our upper body, our arms, head, neck, and shoulders. And let's slowly restack the vertebrae, rolling ourselves up. Ready to move on to some poses. All right, so we've got a little series here of poses that most of us are probably familiar with. First time through, we'll hold them a little bit longer, and then we'll go through them again a little quicker. Just kind of take your time settling into the poses, feeling the stretches, and then again, like I said, we'll move a little quicker. So we're going to start with our right foot forward, and then take a big step back with the left foot, coming into a crescent lunge position. Okay, so in this position, our back leg is extended. We want to keep the leg as straight as comfortable for the knee. If you have knee issues and it's better for you to bend the knee, that's fine. Or keep it at a smaller position. Just make sure that this front knee is in line with the ankle or slightly behind, not going out over the toes. So this is our crescent lunge. Think of emphasizing that length through the sides of the body. Pushing into that back heel. Coming into warrior two now, dropping the back heel, opening to the long edge of the mat, stretching from fingertip to fingertip and gazing over our front fingers. Torso stays upright, shoulders over hips. And if you want, you can go deeper. Just make sure you're shifting back a little bit, keeping your knee tracking with the ankle. Coming into our side angle pose. So this can be forearm on the thigh. This can be hand on the floor. This can be wrapping under that front leg, whatever your choice is. The top arm can be above the shoulder or extending overhead. So find the position that you're comfortable with for the day. If the hand is down, press the arm into the leg into the arm. Coming into our reverse warrior, scooping with that front arm. And then lengthening through the front side of our bodies. We can look up toward the hand or forward. Staying in that lunge position, so you should be feeling a little work going on in that front leg. Moving into triangle now, arms reaching as in warrior two. Reach over the front leg, extend the front leg, and open the body. Imagining that we're in between two walls. Tailbone pointed toward our back heel. Front leg now extended. Open through the chest and through the hip. Coming to down dog, so we'll carefully lower the hand, step our right foot back, pushing back into downward facing dog, pushing our heels toward the floor. And now coming into plank position. We're going to go into a side plank on the right arm. So let's take the right hand under the shoulder, turn the feet to the left, and open the body to the side. Now you can keep that top knee up or lower it. And emphasize lifting up through the waist. Holding here, feeling the strength in the right shoulder, pushing the floor away. Now we'll lower the hand, push back to downward dog, and go through our vinyasa. Plank, shifting forward, chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog. You can crouch and hop or step through right, left. Reverse our swan dive up. And I'm going to turn the other way. You don't have to. I'm going to turn this way and move. Stepping back. Saw a little message there. Okay. Stepping back into our crescent lunge. So now our left foot is forward. Left foot is forward. Just as in the other side now, the back leg is extended. If it feels better for you to bend the knee slightly, certainly do so. Hips are nice and square in crescent lunge. Watch the tracking of the front knee. Make sure it's over or behind the ankle, not going out over the toes. So really aligning our hips and shoulders, spreading the fingers, just getting as much stretch as we can, focusing in on our breath. Moving into warrior two, dropping the back heel, opening to the long edge of our mat. Gazing over our front fingertips, just taking it as deep as we're comfortable with, listening to our bodies. Press those shoulders down and reach from fingertip to fingertip. Feel the strength in that front leg. Want to make sure we're staying grounded through the outer edge of the back foot. Oh, great, I see your comment, Teresa. I'm glad it's coming through. I'm going to save it, so you should be able to see it later. Now we're moving on to our side angle pose. Elbow on the thigh, top arm reaching up. A few options for this one. You can bring the hand to the inside of that supporting leg. If you like, take the bottom arm under and then the top arm back. So we want to try to keep our nose somewhat over our front leg. Just depending on which pose you're doing, you can kind of use that as a guide. Opening up through that top shoulder, staying grounded, as I said, through the outer edge of that back foot. Watch that you don't start to lift that heel. Keep it pressing into the floor. And then scooping into our reverse warrior. So just feeling that nice stretch there in our waist, going into our hip. Keep that back shoulder drop. So this one could be extended along the leg. It could be around your low back. Your gaze can be up, forward, or even down, depending on how your neck is feeling. From here, coming into triangle, so we start in warrior two. Reach over that front leg, and then as we extend that front leg, we bring our bottom arm down and open through the top shoulder. So you want to think of keeping our top and bottom arm in a nice straight line. Our tailbone pointed toward our heel. If we need to, keep a slight bend in that front knee. Want to be careful we're not locking out our joints. Hold and breathe. Breathe into your rib cage. Coming into downward dog now. So carefully untwist, hands to the mat, and then we step back, pushing back into both heels. Holding that downward dog, feeling that stretch in the hamstrings. And coming back to plank. We're going to do side plank on the left, so we want to get our left hand right under our shoulder, pivot the feet to the right, and open. So lots of options here. You can be here. If you wanted to get fancy, you could lift that top leg. If you like, you could lower the bottom knee. But whatever position you're in, really think of pushing the floor away so you're not caving into that shoulder. Push away and lift up through the obliques. Keeping your head in line with your spine, so you're tilting your head to the side. Holding for one more breath. Coming back to down dog on our exhale, pushing our hips back, and we're going to go through our flow. Plank, shift forward, chaturanga, up to down dog, crouch and hop or step through left, right, reverse swan dive. We're going to go through this again a little quicker this time. Stepping our left foot back, so right leg is in front, crescent lunge, hold, hips are nice and square, back leg extended. On our exhale, warrior two. Gazing over those front fingertips, press the shoulders down, breathe in. Coming into side angle pose or extended side angle. So top arm can be reaching overhead or above the shoulder. Scooping into reverse warrior, stretching through our obliques. And then moving into triangle, reach and extend that front leg. Open from the top to the bottom arm. And then let's step back to down dog. Carefully untwist, step back, just hold for a breath. Into plank position, right hand under shoulder, turn the feet, open to side plank. Hand comes down, push back to down dog, and go through the flow. Plank, chaturanga, up to down dog. Crouch and hop or step through right, left. Reverse the swan dive, ready to go to the other side. So left foot is in front, right foot is in back, crescent lunge, body totally square to the short edge of your mat. Back leg extended, reach, spread the fingers. Warrior two, drop the back heel and spread those arms. Really reach, use your shoulder muscles. Try to make those arms a little longer. And now coming into our side angle pose. Remember, hand can be here, you can wrap. You can be pushing the forearm into the leg, just don't collapse. Resist, lift up through those obliques. Scooping to reverse warrior. Feeling that stretch. Might be able to go a little deeper this time than last time. Into triangle. Warrior two, reach, extend, and open. Tailbone pointed toward that back heel. Pivoting down, down dog. Hold for a breath. Coming into plank position, left hand under shoulder, opening to our side plank. Pushing against the floor, lifting through our obliques. And then back to down dog, lower, push back. Going through our flow now, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog. Step through left, right, or crouch and hop, reverse. We're gonna do this one more time. Right foot forward, left foot back. Crescent lunge, hold for a breath, nice and squared, hips, warrior two. So maybe you feel a little more flexible now that you're warmer. You might be able to go a little deeper. Just see how you're feeling with it. Side angle pose. Get a little more stretch through the top side. Reverse warrior. Warrior two to triangle. Open and hold. Downward dog. Plank position, right hand under the shoulder, side plank. Back to down dog. Going through our vinyasa, plank, chaturanga, up dog, down dog, crouch and hop or step through right, left. Reverse swan dive to crescent lunge with our left foot in front, right foot in back. Nice and squared. Reaching up, lengthening through the sides of our body, and then opening up to warrior two. Pressing the shoulders down, gazing over those front fingertips. Coming into our side angle pose, your choice, elbow, hand, wrap. We won't be here too long though. And then scoop it to reverse. Get that stretch to the side. And then shifting into triangle, reach and extend the front leg open from the top to the bottom arm. Carefully pivoting down into down dog, pushing back into the hips. Plank to side plank, left hand under the shoulder, turn the feet to the right, open. Lift through the obliques. Back to down dog, lower the hand, shift back. Going through our flow here, plank, shift, chaturanga, up dog, down dog, crouch and hopper, step through left, right. Reverse the swan dive. We're gonna meet up in mountain pose. Okay. Aligning those joints, spread the toes, and just grip the floor. Take a few deep breaths here. Close your eyes if you like. Check in with how you're feeling. Okay, we're going to go through another series. I'm going to turn my mat for this one. You certainly stay the way you like. I'm just trying to get the best possible angle that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so we're going to start this one in a crescent lunge and then take it down to get a little balance. We're going to try eagle pose. So we're going to start at the top of our mat with an inhale, sweep the arms up, going into a swan dive as we exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And let's just step back to downward facing dog, pushing through both heels. Use your shoulders to really push back. Now staying here if you like, or we're going to come into three-legged dog, lifting our right leg. So right leg is up. Keep the hips squared and really push your left heel toward your mat to get a deeper stretch in your calf muscles. Now we're going to lift our left heel, pull our right knee under, cross it like a pigeon pose, turn, pivoting our toes to the left, and come into this pigeon side plank. Opening, resisting the floor, and then coming back to our three-legged dog. So carefully unpivot and take that right leg back into the air. Flex the right foot and push through that heel as well. Now squeezing your glute muscle, see if you can lift the leg a little bit higher. Drawing the knee back under, coming into a plank. And then pushing back, kicking out through that heel, three-legged dog. Knee comes under, plank. So we're shifting through the shoulder. Push back, down dog. Plank, draw the knee, use those abs. We'll do that one more time. Knee comes under. Lift and hold. Pushing through both heels. Even pressure through both shoulders. Now let's take that lifted leg, step it through. Make sure you're getting that ankle right under the knee. And we're going to come up to a high or crescent lunge like we were earlier. Bring the palms together. Drop that bottom knee. We're going to take the back leg and cross it over, coming to eagle pose. So this leg is going to stay in a chair pose position. Back leg is going to wrap. If you can wrap it around. My knee doesn't like that, so I don't do it that way. I'm better off staying right here. Squeeze your inner thighs. Now we have our left leg on top, so we're going to take our left arm on top, our right arm on the bottom, wrapping the arms. Now lift those elbows. Sinking a little deeper. That supporting leg may be shaking. I know mine is shaking. I guess that's a good thing. I don't know. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. Now keeping our balance, we're going to come back to crescent lunge. So let's take that crossed leg back to crescent lunge. Oh boy, hold it there. Reach up, feel that stretch in the front of your hip. Coming to down dog now, thank goodness. Hands down, step back, push through the heels. Push your hips back, heels to the floor. And we'll go through our flow here. Plank, shift forward, chaturanga. Up dog to down dog. Crouch and hopper, step through right, left. Reverse that swan dive. Are you ready to do this again? Swan dive, exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step back to down dog. We'll start here. Now remember, if all those knee chest and pigeon side planks bother you, feel free to stay in down dog or come to child's pose. So we're gonna start three-legged dog, left leg lifting. And just kind of get familiar with this position. Push with both shoulders. Spread the fingers wide, pushing into our right heel, trying to keep our hips as square as possible. And hold. Now coming into that pigeon side plank. So we're going to lift our bottom heel, our right heel, draw the left knee under, cross it and hook like a pigeon, like a standing pigeon, and then pivot our right foot and open. Okay, hold here. Resist the floor. Push it away. Lift through your core, through your obliques. And then we're going to come back, bring the hand down, lift and pivot the foot. Come back to your three-legged dog. Pushing evenly through both shoulders, pushing our right heel through the floor. Pushing out through our lifted heel. Hold, check in with your breath. Now we're going to pull that knee underneath as we come to plank, and then push out through the heel as we come back to down dog. Three-legged dog, knee to chest plank. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, pull under. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let's do that one more time. Exhale. We're going to hold that three-legged dog, or feel free to stay with down dog, 2 feet. Your choice. Squeeze the glute muscle. Try to lift that leg a little higher. And now we're going to step through. So bring your foot underneath. Make sure your knee and ankle are aligned. And we're going to come up to our crescent. Now, just like on the other side, we're going to work our way into eagle pose. So we'll bring the palms together. Drop the knee. Back leg, the right leg, is going to cross over. So let's bring it around. And it's like we're in chair pose. This leg can be here. You can wrap it if you can. As I said, I don't do that, but feel free to do that if you like. Shoulders down, abs tight. Get your balance. Now, if it gets to be too much pressure, or a little just too difficult, come up a little higher. If you want the challenge, you sink a little deeper. Watch the knee alignment. Right arm on top, left on the bottom. Lift those elbows. Check in with your breath. Are you still breathing? I hope so. Okay, now we're going to come back to crescent lunge. So try to keep your balance. Take the right leg back and hold. Really open up through the front of that right hip. Reach the fingers to the sky. And then we're going to come to down dog. So hands down and step back. Pushing evenly now. Both heels pushing toward the floor. And then going through our flow here. Plank. Shift, chaturanga. Upward dog. Downward dog. Step in. Step through, left, right, or crouch and hop. Reverse your swan dive. And just for fun, we're going to do twisting chair. So feet together, palms together. We're going to sit back in chair pose. I'm going to go to the right first. So taking that underneath arm, pushing our top elbow back, top shoulder blade squeezing in. If you like, you can press the elbow into the thigh. You can open the arms, keeping your head in a comfortable spot. We want to make sure that our knees are pointing forward. Now check in with that breath. One more breath. We're going to carefully untwist. Palms together, untwist, return to mountain pose. Inhale up, going to the left or the other side. Exhale, chair. Using that underneath arm, push the top elbow back. Keep the inner thighs connected. If you like, you can bring your elbow to the outside of the opposite leg. You can open the arms if you like. Keep those legs glued together. And breathe. Really squeeze that top shoulder blade in. Keep your weight shifted back so there shouldn't be any pressure or any weight on your toes. On our next exhale, we're going to carefully bring the palms together, untwist, return to mountain pose, and take a couple breaths here. Check in. How are you feeling? Maybe you had some tight spots earlier. Maybe they feel a little better, hopefully. Okay, if you need a quick drink of water, grab one. We're going to move on. A little more balance, a little more strength as well. So get ready. I'm going to just try to angle myself the best possible way that you can see me. So if I'm moving things, don't feel as if you have to move. Okay, so we're going to start in Warrior 1 and go into a Warrior 3 and then do a little strength work, okay, some variations, and then we'll get into a little more hip opening. So there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel, so just try to hang in there. Gonna get those legs nice and strong, okay? So we're gonna starting in mountain pose, we're gonna step our left foot back. So in Warrior 1, it's a little bit of a shorter stance. The back foot is anchored, so it's unlike the crescent where our heel was up. The heel is down and the foot is turned slightly outward. Okay, the hips are square. So if you look at me from this position, you can see my back heel is grounded. We want to try to aim for squared hips in this position, and they're going to stay pretty straight throughout the whole first part of this vinyasa. Okay, so we're here in our Warrior 1. Arms are reaching. However, if this bothers your back, take the arms at a little bit of an angle, or they could stay right here at your heart center. Try to stay anchored, grounded through the outer edge of that back foot. If you want a little more intensity, you can wrap your biceps around your ears. If you can see there, that's a little better. You can see me a little better there. A couple deep breaths here. Okay, now we want to focus here. We want to get prepared for Warrior 3, which is more of a balanced position. So we're going to shift our weight to our front leg. Okay, get yourself steady, square your hips, and we're going to start to lift that front leg. Now hips again are square, back foot is flexed. You want to think of your knee and your toes facing the floor. Now the hands can be at our heart, the arms can be at our sides, at any position. This would be a little bit more of a challenge here with the arms overhead. Really stay lifted through the abdominals. If you have lower back issues, that might not be the best position for you. The prayer hands might be better. Now we're going to really work that front leg, that standing leg. So if you can keep your balance, keep the back leg lifted. Hands are going to come to our thigh, and we're going to bend the knee and push. Bend the knee. If you're having trouble with your balance, lower your toes, but keep your weight through your front leg. Keep your hips and shoulders nice and square as I struggle with my balance. Okay, last time. Now we're going to take the back foot, step it right beside the front foot, coming into chair pose. Now I have my arms extended. Again, if this bothers your back, try a little bit lower or prayer position. If you're okay here and want a little challenge, find a focal point and try to lift your heels. That's totally up to you. If that bothers your feet or ankles, keep the heels down. Abs pulled in tight to support our back, shoulders down. Okay. Last breath here. If your heels are up, we're going to press them down, staying deep. Take the left leg behind us again, so right leg still in front, arms reach. We're going to pull the knee forward and reach. That front leg is probably shaking, but that's okay. We're almost done. Try to hang in there. Use your core to pull that knee in. Keep your weight on this front leg. We'll do a couple more. Inhale, exhale. Okay, last one. Now we extend the back leg, come back up, finding that warrior one. Okay, grounded through the outer edge of that back foot. Reach through your sides, squeeze your ears if you like with your biceps. Now keeping our hips nice and square, we want to bring our front hip back, our back hip forward. We're going to push through the front leg, come to pyramid. So coming into that fold. And now if you like, bring your hands to the mat, relax your upper body, belly to the thigh. You can take the hands, grabbing your wrist at your low back. You could do a reverse prayer hands. Whatever you like. Just get a stretch through the front leg, the hamstrings. And now coming to down dog. So we're going to step our right foot back, coming into downward dog. Coming into a hip opener, lifting our right leg in three-legged dog, and then bending the knee and opening our hip. So you can stay here or flip the dog, coming into that wild thing, drop the foot, and open. Or stay in that three-legged dog with the knee bent. Couple breaths here. Back to our three-legged dog if we were in the flip. Now we'll lower the foot, push back to down dog, going through our flow here, plank, shift forward, chaturanga, up to down dog, crouch and hop or step through right, left, reverse your swan dive, and return to mountain pose. Okay, and we're going to try that going the other way. Okay, so starting in warrior one. So our left foot is in the front now. I'm going to come back a little bit. Okay, right foot is back. We want to square the hips, and that back foot is grounded. So the foot is slightly turned out. Hands can be at our heart center. Arms can be reaching, fingers spread. They can be right up over our shoulders. You can squeeze your ears. Find the position that works for you. And just focus here, breathe. Breathe length into your sides as if you're being stretched in two directions from the floor to the ceiling. Creating that length between the vertebrae, that space. Okay, now we got to get serious. We're going to come into warrior three, so we want to get our focus. If you're comfortable with it, go ahead and go for it right from here. If you need a little extra priming, put the hands on the hips, shift. We're going to shift our weight to the front leg and let our back leg lift. Let me move a little bit. So I want to try to keep our hips as square as we can. Okay, back foot is flexed, toes facing the floor, knee facing the floor. So watch that the hip doesn't roll out. We want to keep the hip nice and square. So remember, arms can be long at your sides, midway here, overhead. Draw your core in. Wobbling is fine. Wobbling is okay. Now we're going to go into that little leg series. So hands to the front thigh. Make sure you're not on your knee. And we're going to bend and push. Bend and push. Now if you wanted to, if your balance is a little bit off like mine seems to be, you can keep that back toe down, but try to keep the majority of your weight in your front leg. We're going to try that one more time. Okay. And then stepping our back foot beside the front, coming into chair pose. Staying in chair or lifting the heels. Okay, your choice. Arms can be in whatever position is right for us. Listen to your body. If your back is starting to get a little tight, shorten the lever of the arms. If this bothers your ankles or feet, keep the heels down. Pull those shoulders down. On our next exhale, We'll lower the heels. Left foot still in front, right leg to the back. We're going to pull the knee into the chest. So that front leg should be talking to you by now. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Keeping our body weight on that front leg. Almost there, just a couple more. Okay, last one, and we're going to come back to warrior one. Ground through that back foot. Square the hips. Arms in any position here. Deep breaths. Okay, now think front hip pushing back, back hip pulling forward as we straighten the front leg, hinging forward into pyramid, letting that tailbone lift, belly to the front leg. The arms can release. You can hold at the wrist at your lower back. Reverse prayer hands if you like. If you tend to lock the front knee, keep a slight bend in the knee. Just releasing, feeling that stretch in the front hamstrings. Coming to down dog now, bringing our hands to the mat, stepping our front foot back, pushing back. Now we're going to come into that three-legged dog. So left leg up this time. Bend the knee and open the hip. So you can certainly stay here, or you can flip it, bring the foot down, lift the left arm, open through the chest, through the hip, and hold whatever position you're comfortable with. Hold for a couple breaths here. Now if you're in the flip, we're going to carefully come back to that three-legged dog. And then lower the foot beside the right foot, pushing back into down dog. And then going through our flow, plank, shift, chaturanga, up to down dog. Crouch and hop or step through left, right. Reverse that swan dive. And lower to mountain pose. And just breathe. Check in with your posture. Grounded through the feet. Check in with your breathing. Check in with your body. How we feeling? Okay, if you need a quick drink of water, grab one. Now we're just going to go into a little more hip opening. If you happen to have a wall, if you have a little trouble with half moon pose, a wall is a great prop. It'll help you with your balance, so certainly get yourself situated for that. We are going to do half moon into sugar cane if you're okay with that. If you struggle with half moon, you would stay with half moon. And then a little more hip opening, and then we'll take it to the floor. Okay. Alrighty, so starting with our right leg in the front, we're going to start in that crescent lunge position. Okay? So squaring our hips, pushing through that back heel, lengthening through the sides of our bodies. On our next exhale, coming into warrior two. So we're setting up for that half moon. Okay, so we want to reach over our front leg, start to bend at our waist, and then lift that back leg, coming into half moon. So the knee, your knee is pointing forward, not up to the sky. So we want that nice straight line from top hand to bottom. If you're comfortable here, hopefully I won't fall over, you can grab hold of the top of that foot and push the foot into the hand, coming into sugar cane. Opening up the front of that hip a little more. This is a great hip opener if you can finagle yourself into this position. Okay, and then we're going to come back to our half moon. Bend the front knee, and then come back to warrior two. From here, turning to face the long edge of our mat. Hips are open, toes pointed to the front corners here. Nice wide stance with the legs. And we're going to pull the elbows down, coming into goddess pose. So nice hip opener here. Nice opening through the hips. Shoulders squeezing. So I want to squeeze your shoulder blades in and open through the chest. So we're contracting the back and opening the front. now we're going to stay as low as comfortable on our knees. With an inhale, lift one heel. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, other heel. Exhale. Now you can stay alternating, or if you want to try both together, you can try that. Your choice. Okay, we're going to stay low. Walk the feet in just a little bit closer. Come up, palms together. Lift our heels and sink down, coming into garland pose. So we'll come as low as we can, pressing our elbows into our inside of our knees. The heels can be down or up. Holding here, keeping open through the chest, creating that dynamic tension by pressing our elbows against our legs against our elbows. Now, if your heels are down, we're going to lift our heels and press ourselves back up and bring our heels down. Release the arms. Take the feet a little wider, turn the toes in, bring the hands to the low back, go into a little back bend. Take a deep breath, open through the collarbones. Exhale, folding forward, coming into our standing splits. So we want to align our fingertips with our toes and aim the top of our head toward the floor. And just feel that stretch in the backs of our legs. Now, if you like, you can walk the hands further back between the legs. You can grab hold of your ankles, pull your chest through. Do whatever you like. Hold here for a couple breaths. All right, we're going to bring the hands back out in front of our feet. Toe heel the feet in a little closer. Okay, taking our legs about hip width, do a reverse swan dive. So let's just come on up and back to mountain pose. Okay, so other side, we're going to go into that half moon, possibly sugar cane, just so you're aware. So we're going to face the short edge of our mat, coming into our crescent lunge. Our left foot is in front, or the leg you didn't do last time. And we're stretching up, just getting situated, getting set up, reaching nice and long. On our next exhale, coming into warrior two. So our body will be open to the side for half moon. So we're going to start by reaching over that front leg, shifting our weight, and then floating that back leg up. Okay, our body is open. That lifted leg, the knee is facing forward, not up to the sky. Now find your focal point. If you want to go for sugar cane, you're going to grab the top of the foot and push the foot against the hand. So we got to kind of negotiate our balance here. Keep looking at your drishti, your focal point. Concentrate. How does that feel? Where are you feeling this? Breathe into that spot. On our next exhale, coming back to half moon, and then back to warrior two. Okay, turning to face the long edge of our mat with the wide open legs, open hips, pulling down into goddess, opening the chest, and then letting those heels lift if we choose. If we want to do an alternating heel, we can. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. If you want to just hold it. Bring some attention to your mid-upper back. Squeeze those shoulder blades down and in. Okay, and then pressing through the feet, coming up, walking our feet in a little closer to get ready to come into garland pose. So if you like, you can lift the heels, stay here, focus on balance. If coming down deep into that garland pose bothers your knees at all, if you're okay with it, we're going to start to slowly sink our sits bones toward the floor, coming into that garland position, pressing our elbows into our knees, knees into elbows. Heels could be up or down. Stay open through the chest. Now on our next exhale, heels lifted, we're gonna come back up and heels down. Open the feet wide again, and then slightly pigeon toe the toes inward. Hands at our low back. Inhale to a back bend, and exhale, folding forward into those standing splits. So you can align the fingertips with your toes. You can take the arms through the legs. You can grab the legs. If you like, you could come to one leg, pulling your chest toward one leg for a breath or two, and then to the other. Okay, from here, we're going to bring our hands out in front of us, step our feet together, and then just come down to our knees. Have a seat on the mat. All right, I'm just going to angle my phone a little bit so you can see me. Okay. All right, so we're going to roll down now. So we're going to hold the backs of our legs, curve our back, and roll ourselves down. Just going to open up our hips a little bit more. So we're going to go into a bridge position. So our knees are in line with our sitting bones. Our legs are hip width apart, arms long at our sides. Go ahead and press through your feet and lift your hips up into a bridge. I'm going to move back just a little bit. So more work through the glutes and the hamstrings. Walk your shoulders away from your ears, and our gaze is straight up toward the ceiling. Just hold and breathe. On our next exhale, we're going to lower the hips down. Now we're going to do 2 more bridges. I'm going to offer a couple variations. The next one will be to go into wheel pose, which is a back bend. If you don't like wheel pose, if you prefer not to do wheel pose, you'll stick with the bridge, so your choice. If you want to try wheel pose, make sure your low back is okay for it. You're going to take the hands, fingertips pointed toward the shoulders, and then using the strength of our legs and then our arms, we're going to push up into that back bend. So deep breath, and then on our exhale, either pushing into wheel pose or into bridge pose. Okay, so stay in wheel if you like. I'm going to come back to bridge pose. Sometimes my back likes wheel, sometimes it says, okay, time to come down. So we always want to honor that. When our body gives us a message, we listen. I've learned that, if it's one thing I've learned. Holding, one more breath, and then releasing on our exhale. So this time, let's just hug the knees. So especially if you were in wheel pose, you want to kind of counterbalance that for a moment. Now the third one will be the shoulder stand option, which is this one where we lift. Now again, if this is not something that you want to try, then do a third bridge. Okay, so your choice on this one. So if you wanted to come into shoulder stand, you can go ahead and lift the legs. You can do it from a bridge position. I prefer to just lift my legs and then roll and catch at my lower back. That's how I prefer to do it. So if you have a different way of doing it, that's totally fine. So we're going to come up, and then you could do a bridge. You could do shoulder stand. Just be careful in shoulder stand that you're not rolling onto your head or your neck. Think of drawing your elbows toward each other, pointing your toes up toward the sky, looking straight up, and breathing. And on our next exhale, releasing from whichever position we were in. And we're just going to hug the knees and make some little circles. Just little circles around, releasing our lower backs. And then go ahead and reverse. Go the other way. From here, coming into our happy baby pose, holding onto the ankles and opening the legs to the sides. You can hold the ankles, you can hold the bottoms of the feet, press down, get a little more stretch through the hamstrings. We did a lot of hamstring work, so we do want to give ourselves a moment here to just release and relax. Now bringing our legs together, we're going to lower the feet down. I'm keeping my right knee bent and extending my left leg. We're going to go into a supine spinal twist. So we'll shift the hips a little toward our bent leg, toward our right leg. Open the arms to the side and just let that right leg come across the midline of the body. And then turn the head looking away from the leg. So I'm looking to the right. Just releasing my lower back, opening my chest. Now our breathing should be coming back to a slower, longer, deeper breath. Coming into our cool down. Okay, bringing our head back to center, we'll bring our right leg back over and switch. So we're going to bend the left knee, extend to the right, shift our hips a little to the left, and then take that left leg across. You can put your right hand on the leg, just don't force it down. Or open the arms to the sides. I like to turn my head to look the opposite way, but you can keep the eyes looking forward. Whatever feels good. On our next exhale, we'll bring our head to center, and we're going to bring that left leg back, and we're going to come into our final relaxation or our corpse pose. So that can be whatever pose you're comfortable with. It can be just lying flat on the back, legs extended, opening through the hips. You can come into this butterfly position with the legs if that feels good for you, if you want a little hip opening. Just find a position that you are comfortable, that you can relax. I encourage you, invite you to close your eyes at this point. I know I will take any invitation to close my eyes at any time, so if you're like me, you'll be all over that. We're just going to use these last few moments here of our time together to relax our minds and our bodies. So let's just start with the breath. It's nice to just take a big, full breath and then sigh with that exhale. Don't be afraid to make a little noise. Do that again. And one more time, even deeper this time. Okay, and then just taking those deep breaths, slowing down, relaxing the muscles around our eyes, that space between our eyebrows. Feel as if someone is massaging your forehead, taking all the tension away from our forehead and from our minds. What's going on inside? Releasing away that stress, relaxing our mouth and our jaw, relaxing our neck and shoulders, our arms, our hands and fingers. Relaxing our abdominals, the muscles that support our rib cage, the intercostals, our hips, our lower back. the big muscles of our legs, our quads, our hamstrings, moving down to our calves, our lower legs, our ankles, our feet, and our toes. Now as we stay relaxed in corpse pose, we've got a little meditation, very short, on positive thinking. There are all sorts of situations in which positive thinking can be an advantage. During an illness or after an injury, for example, or when you have suffered a trauma or a setback at work or in your home life. May the bad things that have happened be purged from my thoughts. May I not indulge in resentment, blame, or hurt. May my life be free from destructive patterns, habits, and careless acts. I shall focus my attention on creation and renewal. Now if our eyes are closed, we're going to start to blink them open and closed and wiggle our fingers and our toes. Whenever we're ready, we're going to roll onto our right side, extending our right arm, drawing our knees in toward our chest, resting our head along our arm. And whenever we're ready, we're going to come up to a seated position. It's a comfortable seated position. And we want to get ourselves situated nice and tall, lengthening through our spines. And taking a couple breaths here before we part. I want to thank you all for coming, for joining me, for tuning in, I guess. A little different these days, but I appreciate your support, and God bless all of you. I appreciate all of you, and the light within me honors the light within you. Namaste.